I'm Yoko, and welcome back to year 25 of GalaxyClan, and real quick, I have some advertising. So first, I have a new theme design drop for Year of the Snake up on my Redbubble of some of the cats in GalaxyClan that have been snake-themed or related to Viper Clan. Or, Flame Bear. So if you want them on stickers or anything else, they're available there. And with even bigger news, I now have a Patreon if you're interested. There's free tiers with various rewards for anyone that wants to join, including stuff like your names in videos, behind-the-scenes stuff, more/earlier sneak peeks, early access to side clan gen comic I'm working on called Haven Clan, highlight reels of GalaxyClan gameplay after the year comes out, though that starts in March, and the highest tier gets all the new cat designs in the clan early, though without their names, as well as a Moon 1 Notes preview for the upcoming year. So yeah, check that out if you're interested, and I'm grateful for the support if you do. This month has been crazy with the amount of times my power went out, but luckily the California fires didn't affect me beyond that. Sending support to anyone that was affected more than me, it's really bad. But back to year 25, this year had a lot of drama, and I'm excited to share it. But let's start with the cats in Star Clan. The first death this year was sadly Stargazer, who died at 174 moons old. It had to happen sometime for him. Early in the year, he was watching the sky for hawks, and then thinking of going on a little jaunt outside camp. Then he was telling scary stories to the younger cats, and had everyone entertained. Unfortunately, he was struck by a sharp pain and was found dead, and our medicine cat actually ran out of camp as soon as she saw his body. Stargazer was well loved in the clan, and his death hurt many, including me. Also in Star Clan, Blizzard Chime sadly died at 43 moons old. Early in the year, his tail was badly damaged by fallen rocks, and he ended up getting scarred from it. He thought he was the funniest cat around, but he was also taking his duties seriously, guarding camp, and was worried that Minnow Spirit was overworking himself. He was also training with Rowancaw, who he had a small mutual crush on, and I'm sad that will go nowhere now. But he pounced on a rat without thinking while his younger patrol mates Sneezetuft and Melkhair watched stunned. He was smugly bringing it home until his mouth soured, and over the next few days, he became violently ill and never recovered. And I'm sad to lose Blizzard Chime, but also, these were the only deaths we had inside the clan itself this year, surprisingly. But we do need to take a detour. Because Adderstripe died at 58 moons old, only 3 moons into the year, and as an exiled cat, we get no information about how she died, but I do have theories. Because throughout the year, it became clear that she had kittens that would have been 3 moons old when she died. So it is possible she died of complications from having them. Though it is also possible that perhaps rogues got her due to some information that you'll see later. Because either she was hanging out with rogues or rogues showed up post her death for reasons that will make sense. Leaning towards the second, but you'll see. Also, yes, those kittens were Cyndaquils, and timeline-wise, they had to be from after she was exiled, and they were actually born on the last moon of last year. I just didn't know that happened. So she probably shouldn't have been looking so smug in the last year lineup. But she was definitely still seeing Cyndaquil. Most of her Dark Forest statuses have been not that interesting, but she has been acting erratically there. And before we go to living cats, I have a small Dark Forest animatic. Chestnut Wolf growled in annoyance as Flamebear dragged her into the Dark Forest again, trying to ignore him and leave. He said she was weak and that she cared too much, and that was her biggest weakness. She shouldn't be this affected by some old cat's death. Chestnut Wolf yelled back to leave her alone, she's doing her best and he doesn't get to tell her how to feel. Then she saw Rainbow Star appear out of a dreamscape. She tried to explain herself for being here, but they interrupted, saying Ospreyclaw already told them that she doesn't want to be here, and they are just here to get her out. Flamebear watched in annoyance as she was taken away, and then his eyes widened in horror as he smelled someone. He tried to run, but he could feel breath on his tail as he did. Eventually, he was caught and pinned, and as he looked around, he thought he saw his mom Butterfly Catcher before recognizing Butterfly Paw instead. He reached out for her, asking Butterfly Paw to help, but she just watched unamused as Hollowstar killed him. Butterfly Paw commented that he was a pathetic cat and a fool, as Hollowstar stared into the Viper Clan territory. He coldly asked why Flamebear reached out for her like he knew her. Butterfly Paw seemed annoyed as she explained she did a favor by reaching out to him and guiding him towards the path that probably led him here. But she couldn't care less about him, or the foxheart she did the favor for, spitting that the kin of Frecklespot have only been thorns in her side since then. Hollowstar showed emotion as he growled in anger at the mention of Frecklespot, and he stepped forward, but Serpentstar slinked over, reminding him that if he stepped into the snake's territory, he'd be torn apart, taunting the forest cat for ever coming to the mountains. Hollowstar turned and left knowing that he couldn't do anything. So going to our living cats, starting with the now 76-moon-old Rainbow Star, they are now surprisingly mates with the 58-moon-old Cyndaquil, but looking at them individually first, Rainbow Star was wishing they could have the day off and was proud of the way the clan was handling things. After some refugees showed up at their clan, Rainbow Star declared war on J-Clan, doing a preemptive strike, fearing an imminent threat to their clan's existence. Then they fawned at Freckle Star, who was also at war with J-Clan during a gathering, for everything from her apprentice's manners to her medicine cat's intelligence. Rainbow Star led a training exercise for an apprentice, teaching them how to leap up a craggy surface. And then Rainbow Star was questioning their ability to lead, and their relations with their clanmates became strained after they ended up becoming mates with Cyndaquil, with some questioning their decisions while others were relying on Rainbow Star more heavily than ever. Eventually, the J-Clan war was settled once and for all after a major event that I'll get into later. Now, as for Cyndaquil, he reported his former apprentice Drizzlelight for eating prey on patrol, and then got a new apprentice who he helped with his StarClan vision. He was eavesdropping on Swan Song and then helping around camp in between his duties. Then he was on a patrol when he found an abandoned 5-moon-old kit, and he froze when he realized that was definitely his and Adderstripe's kit. He rushed him back to camp and found out that Adderstripe was not only dead, but she had a litter that he had no idea existed. Cyndaquil does know about all of his kits now, but only one of them is in the clan. Later, he was caught sharing prey with a kitty pet named S'mores, and she's like 40 moons older than him and looks nothing like him, but I'm kind of wondering if they're related in some way since they have fire-adjacent names. Anyway, Cyndaquil became mates with Rainbow Star, who seemingly didn't mind his baggage and does seem to get along with his kit in the clan. I really hope Cyndaquil stays good and just had a bad judgment moment with Adderstripe because that looks really bad, but most of the other stuff about him seems fine and he's just kind of doing his best in clan and he's also really good with his apprentices. But I swear this boy is so sneaky, he lives up to his personality, even I don't know what he's up to. But deputy time, Jackdaw Slash is now 88 moons old and she felt uncertain for her role for a moment, but brushed it off easily. She assigned Drizzlelight to dig a new trench for the dirt place when it was reported that he ate prey on patrol, and then she moved on from Gecko Dart, though she will always love him. She felt a sense of protectiveness for her clan, ready to defend them at any moment, and was leading training a lot. Though she was annoyed with a newer cat that ran when she was trying to practice 2-on-1 fighting. And GalaxyClan was actually very strong when fighting against J-Clan, with us injuring many of their cats, with the only death that happened on J-Clan's side, I believe, being an accident since it was a cat fleeing us that drowned. And I do think Jackdaw Slash was a strong war general type that knew we needed to fight strong or we would receive casualties. And well, no one in our clan died from J-Clan and only one of us got injured, so. She also watched Buck's butting heads with Rainbow Star playfully arguing over who would win, and interestingly, she does actually have a one-sided crush on Rainbow Star. She also has a one-sided crush on Wishkeeper, so there's some stuff to keep an eye on. I will say though, both Rainbow Star and Wishkeeper so far have only shown interested in boys, so she might be barking up the wrong tree, but we'll see. In our medicine cat den, newly named Chestnut Wolf is 26 moons old, bloodthirsty, and very clever. And she is still her only medicine cat in the clan. As an apprentice, she got help from her siblings Drizzlelight and Milkhair when collecting mallow. She spotted a seizure coming and brought Horizon Petal to her nest, and she almost sobbed when she saw her mom, Alcyone, stepping out of the crowd of starry cats in her naming ceremony, congratulating her and naming her Chestnut Wolf. Based on a suggestion on the Discord, I gave her Brave Borage as an accessory as another callback to her sister Brave Hal. And then she tried to do too much at once and defeatedly asked Sneezetuff for help, who surprisingly started a conversation about herbs and was actually interested, which made her feel lighter getting to share her knowledge and skills with someone that respected her. And those two actually have a giant crush on each other, and I'm shipping it a lot. He seems to help where he can and also accompanied her to tidy up the burial grounds when she was still grieving Stargazer. She found the injured refugees from J-Clan and their kits and guided them to the clan. And she seems like a very sensitive cat, surprisingly, running out when Stargazer died and swallowing a wail of despair when one of her patients, Yellow Cough, turned into Red Cough, knowing that it was practically a death sentence. And you'll sadly see who that is later. But yeah, really hoping she gets help next year. I'm surprised no one became a medicine cat this year with all the apprentices. I have been having her mostly go out with warrior escorts as she struggles alone due to her condition sometimes. As you saw earlier, Flamebear is also no longer an issue for her, and Rainbow Star was made aware of her situation, going there to grab her. But on to our mediators. Ice Dash is here at 68 moons old, and she had a nice chat with a loner outside clan territory, which might have been Loaf, the surrogate for Wishkeeper's litter. And side note, I wanted to invite Loaf, but she sadly died outside the clan, so no Loaf for us, unfortunately. Ice Dash also wanted to solve the disputes with J-Clan and hoped the clan would stay peaceful. She was mediating a long-time friendship, and status-wise, that moon it made the most sense that it was helping Swansong communicate better with Rainbow Star in regards to the Cyndaquil situation. But Ice Dash was mostly making sure her family was doing well this year. So moving on. Minnow Spirit is now 33 moons old, and he was wondering how good at swimming he really would be, probably playing on his name. He mediated between Gorsepaw and Sneezetuff when Gorsepaw was being a little bratty, and also mediated Gorsepaw with his mentor a bit. He got an apprentice this year, and he went for a long walk deep in thought when the war finally ended. He also told a clanmate to their face that their pelt was looking dull lately, and I don't think he was trying to be rude. I think he was just blunt. It kind of just makes the most sense to me that he was just commenting on it, and he was a little concerned maybe. Also, he was asked out by someone this year, but rejected them. You'll find out who later, though. Minnow Spirit does like them back now, though. Now, as for his apprentice, meet the 12-moon-old confident Cliff Creek, who is a good speaker. He was found by his dad Cyndaquil when he was 5 moons old, and he actually does have vitiligo in game, and I didn't just roll that since he's Cyndaquil's kid. It is a different kind than his dad, but it's wild that he has it. But yeah, he joined the clan 2 moons after his mom died, and I think he was briefly with rogues, and I kind of theorized that maybe it's a girls-only rogue group, and they dumped him when he got around apprentice age, because they were like, he's old enough to be on his own now. Despite the odd choice, Cliffpaw was firm that he'd be Minnow Spirit's apprentice because he wanted to help the clan through words and influence, not claw or fang. He wasn't making progress with J-Clan during the war, but he was there when the war ended, which you'll hear about later, and he was a little scared. He was named for his independence, and it's very cute to me that he was mentored by his fellow fish-tailed cousin, and I'm happy that Minnow Spirit doesn't hold who his mom is against him. Cliff Creek does have siblings, but you'll hear about them later. So, on to our warriors. Meet the 113-moon-old Daffodil Heart, who is rebellious with natural insight. A patrol consisting of Luckshine, Fawnfoot, Fickle, Insert Suffix, and Silkpaw approached her, cautiously, and she asked us for help. Luckshine agreeing that we couldn't leave her to die. She had a torn pelt when she joined us, and I think that was either from Rogues or J-Clan, but there's no real answer in-game. Once she was healed, she was given an apprentice already, and they shadowed a large dog out. She also had the thought that she thinks every cat should be in charge of themselves, so I don't know how much she'll adapt to clan life, but I hope she trains her apprentice well. She hasn't been here long, so I think that's about it for her. Roostertail's now 99 moons old, and he got another apprentice, and it seems like this experience was another rocky apprenticeship, having to tell off his apprentice for not taking training seriously and butting heads a bit. Luckily, they do seem to be getting along despite this now, and his apprentice ended up mellowing out later in the year. Beyond that, Roostertail found a kitty pet, bringing her kit to the clan after she couldn't care for them. And I would have had him adopt that kit, but his mom did end up being invited to the clan later. Roostertail chuckled after finding a lost Viper Clan apprentice with Wishkeeper and gently guided them back. And he also seems to be overcompensating with his duties as he gets older. He's now a senior warrior. He took over a patrol that he wasn't assigned to lead, and at the end of the year, while on a hunt, his nose started running, which he tried to ignore, but he was forced back to camp early after it ruined his ability to track scent. He seems to be doing better this year in general, which is good. Moving on to Swansong, he is now 90 moons old, and he was grateful to Ice Dash. He actually ended up getting his butt kicked by his son during 2-on-1 training with him, and he suggested Fawnfoot and him team up against Sneezetuff, which impressed him a lot. And then his daughter playfully critiqued Swansong's fighting techniques. He later gave his son some laurels, so it's so cute seeing him be a good dad. He met S'mores the kitty pet with Peatmane, but she declined joining, finding clan life frightening, and then he wondered what Red Noise was up to. He was fumbling over his words when attempting to talk during the moon that Rainbow Star became mates with Cyndaquil, so that's why I had Ice Dash mediate them, since I think Swansong was trying to give his friend advice, but struggling a little bit. In Moss Clan, his second litter was named Burnett Stem, Frigid Dream, and Greenclaw, but sadly, on one moon, Burnett Stem died of green cough, and then his daughter from the first litter, Weevil Chomp, died when she fell off a cliff hunting. And on that moon, he was considering, as he looked out over the clan, if perhaps this wasn't where he belonged. I think he feels guilty for not being with the rest of his kids, and might be considering joining Moss Clan, but at the same time, Fawnfoot and Sneezetuff are now GalaxyClan cats, so he's kinda conflicted. But as for Peatmane, he's 76 moons old now. He did his best to help out Chestnut Wolf where he could, and he tends to help out rushing to cats when she can't. He was fetching Horizon Petal for someone that was looking for her, and then later met S'mores the kitty pet with Swan Song. Then he couldn't find Ficklepot anywhere, and finally moved on from Cragscale, but he will always love him. He found a supposedly lost Moss Clan apprentice and understood it was an honest mistake, but still lectured them on the importance of borderlines. And the Swan kids really do like to visit us, huh? Then he almost drowned, but luckily he was saved. So in general, he's doing better this year, but he did have a few hiccups here and there, but he does seem less depressed, which is good. Moving on to Wishkeeper, he is now 68 moons old, and he was exhausted after patrol, which was when his kits were 5 moons old, so I don't blame him. Then he was practicing fighting moves with Horizon Petal. He purred as he listened to Silkpaw talk about nothing in particular, which was very cute. And then he was hoping to go to a gathering. As mentioned, he helped a lost Viper Clan apprentice back home with Roostertail. And then he had the status that he knows that he's a shoo-in for deputy, and I'm rooting for him. He threw his head back, misty-eyed with pride at his kid's warrior ceremonies, and he generally is doing a lot better now that he's not as overwhelmed and stuck in the nursery. As for Ren Noise, she's 64 moons old now, and just, how is she this old already? She was climbing a tree, which she got a splinter from, and then she got an apprentice, stopping him from going near Two Legs and repeating that true warriors have nothing to do with them. She was guarding camp during the war, and then she led a large dog a short distance away with her apprentice. She was watching the sky for hawks, and then she taught her apprentice advanced battle moves when they said that they needed to be strong to enforce the code. She was looking forward to a gathering despite the J-Clan war, probably since Wasp Mimic has lots he could talk about. Also, Ren Noise does still poof into the Dark Forest against her will, but she has a system where Rainbow Star just checks on her dream every night to check if she needs to be brought out. That being said, she saw Missile Star talking to Blue Star during one of these Dark Forest moments, and that was extremely concerning, which she was able to tell Rainbow Star about. And then at the end of the year, blood warning, Ren Noise was attacked and ambushed by rogues where she ended up getting a claw wound that she is still healing from, and the picture is gone now. So Ren Noise is currently injured, and I hope she heals up well. Rowan Ka is now 50 moons old, and she shouted a large dog out with Horizon Petal, and also later practiced fighting with her. Then she saw a kitty pet rolling around a two-leg garden, which was probably Chocolate Chip, who is still around outside the clan, and I like to think Rowan Ka stays in touch. She found a bush of red berries and warned Swan Song and Peat Mane about it in case they were death berries. And she had the apprentices engaged in a very tall tale, and was also training with Blizzard Chime, which, as I mentioned, she had a mutual crush on, sadly. She does have another mutual crush on another cat currently in a relationship, so maybe she'll follow in her parents' footsteps and be in a polyamorous relationship. She did end up getting one of that cat's kits as an apprentice, and was reminded of a potential prophecy while out with them, but you'll see that later. Introducing a new cat, here's the 45-moon-old rebellious Spinel, who is a fish-like swimmer and a lore keeper. She originally met us when she brought her kit to the clan when she couldn't care for him, but then I saw that she had the status outside the clan that she wished her housefolk cared about her more, so that made me sad, and I used the new feature to invite her, and when we found her just outside her two-leg nest, we made her an offer. Though she questioned about leaf bearer illnesses and injuries, she was persuaded clan life was worth it for her. But she was the cat that turned tail and ran when Jackdaw Slash was trying to practice 2-on-1 fighting, which disappointed the deputy. She also taunted a dog that was stuck in a two-leg fence with an apprentice, and then leapt into a giant pile of fallen leaves. She argued with Pumpkin Paw, and then was spreading doubt throughout her clanmates over the way things were done here. But in her defense, something happened to her kid that kind of was related to all of her questions when she joined, and it really stressed her out. She doesn't seem to be the best at clan life, and I think she regrets both joining and bringing her kid here, but she did seem to have bad two legs before this, so she was kind of not happy either way. 45-moon-old Luckshine is back in the clan after I tried to use the search feature to find her for 4 moons with no initial success. Z had a nice chat with Viper Clan at the border and remarked to Rainbow Star on their kindness. Z found a lost Moss Clan apprentice and, like Peat Mane, understood it was a mistake but still lectured on borderlines. And then a nasty current rushed to patrol, and acting fast, Luckshine navigated the current like a fish, assisting their clanmates to safety, which was Peat Mane and Horizon Petal. Z fetched Minnow Spirit for her former apprentice when they confessed, but sadly that didn't go well. Z fetched Minnow Spirit for her former apprentice Drizzlelight when they confessed, but sadly that didn't go well. Z was also the cat that brought Daffodil Heart to the clan after finding her injured. Luckshine was about to land a blow on a small yappy dog when a panicked voice stopped her, and Z met a cat that said it was their friend. And Luckshine invited the cat, that apparently speaks dog, to join the clan. Sadly, Luckshine's brother did die this year, which was really sad, but they seem to be doing their best to keep being a strong, loyal warrior, and I'm happy that Z's back. On to 2 new faces in Clan. Meet Sushi, a 37-moon-old lonesome, very clever former loner, and Pike, a 41-moon-old rebellious campkeeper. And he's a former J-Clan cat. These 2 joined as refugees after Sushi was badly injured by Missile Star when she was found on J-Clan territory. Pike rushed to stop her, panicking and explaining that that was his mate and she had his kits nearby, which Missile Star was then mad at him, asking why he didn't bring them to the clan, with Pike admitting he didn't think J-Clan was safe for them, which Missile Star got mad at and called him a traitor, sending him and his injured mate away. Chestnut Wolf found them and they were rushed to camp with their 2 kits. Sushi had a torn ear and a claw wound, with the ear healing without a scar, but the claw wound leaving a deep scar on her stomach. Once healed, she was seen racing along the border of her rival from J-Clan, and she seems to hold a big grudge for understandable reasons. Though lore-wise, she is related to the J-Clan guide vaguely. I'm not sure exactly how. I'm assuming distant relative, but she does have his traits, so it's really funny that she doesn't get along with J-Clan. And these 2 actually adopted a furred kit into their litter after one the same age as their litter was found, and despite them being 5 moons old already, they just brought him in. As for Pike, he was proud of his kit's growth and asked Cyndaquil an important question, which I think had to do with one of his kids, since Pike actually knew one of them before joining the clan. He later was on the patrol where rogues ambushed him, Red Noise, and Jackdaw Slash, but luckily was unhurt. But then he caught Green Cough and was sick for a while, but luckily he is healed now. Also, Sushi is the cat that Rowancaw has a mutual crush on, so this is the potential poly, but who knows what the future will bring. Next up is the 33-moon-old Horizon Petal, and as mentioned, she hung out with Rowancaw a bit and was practicing fighting with a couple cats, like Rowancaw and Wishkeeper. Luckily, Chestnut Paw spotted a seizure coming and guided her to her nest, where it's always a little less upsetting to wake up. She's also later chatting with Chestnut Wolf about what it's like to be a medicine cat, and they seem like friends. It took her 3 moons to fully recover from it, and then she was sitting in the shade to hide from the heat, taking it easy for a little bit. And then she almost drowned, but Luckshine saved her. And Horizon Petal actually had a giant one-sided crush on Luckshine, so I'm rooting for her, but we'll see if that goes anywhere. It's very one-sided. She found an abandoned 5-moon-old kit, which after she brought back to camp, Sushi and Pike adopted them. And then she got an apprentice at the end of the year. So Horizon Petal honestly had a pretty rough year, and I hope next year is nicer. Also, she doesn't like Red Noise for some reason, so I'm gonna try to get that fixed with our mediators. Next up is the 30-moon-old Fawnfoot, and as mentioned, she playfully teased her dad for losing to Sneeze Tuft in training, but she's impressed with her brother's skills. She wasn't willing to let any cat die to a badger, and she ordered a patrol to continue on while she warned Moss Clan of the scent. She overall seems very loyal to Moss Clan still, and with her also blocking her apprentice from crossing the border to steal a rabbit. She is apparently waiting for a war to be declared, and seems excited in the J-Clan war, probably being one of the cats that injured one of the many J-Clan ones. She was offering to lead border patrols and seemed to do her best. Though she did recently catch yellow cough, so hopefully she gets better since someone else had this develop into red cough. She's sad at the news of her siblings' death in Moss Clan, but she seems to be doing pretty good overall. As for her brother Sneeze Tuft, he survived the snake bite, but shocked his family during 2-on-1 training by springing forward and throwing Swan Song off his paws, and before he could get up, Sneeze Tuft whirled around, shouldering Fawnfoot off balance, pinning her on the ground. His family shared impressed looks, while Sneeze Tuft sheepishly said that it was nothing big. He seems very humble but very strong, and was also guarding camp during the war. As mentioned, he's been helping Chestnut Wolf and has a giant crush on her, which his friend Drizzlelight teases him over since that's his sister. He got laurels from his dad to wear and was sadly on the patrol where Blizzard Chime caught the sick rat and had to witness the aftermath of that. On to his friend, the 26-moon-old Drizzlelight. He came out as Gender Fawn, which is a form of gender fluidity that never includes female or feminine genders, with Drizzlelight using he, they, Storm pronouns mostly interchangeably. And Storm actually came out after one of their siblings did, so that's fun. They were also spreading doubt over how things were done, which is less fun. And then they asked Pumpkin Kit a very important question. He ate prey on patrol with his former mentor, getting reported to Jackdaw Slash and having to dig a new trench for the dirt place, which apparently got him fleas. He tried to help Jackdaw Slash later train Spinel, but you saw how that went, but he was also confident that Minnow Spirit felt the same way, but he didn't at the time, and Storm really didn't want to talk about it after when he got rejected. Later, they were taunting a dog for a 2-leg fence, and please stop causing problems, Drizzlelight. As mentioned, he teases Sneeze Tuft over his crush on Chestnut Wolf. But yeah, please be silly and not problematic. But next up is Leopard Spots, who fell into a river in the beginning of the year, inhaling a lot of water before being pulled out and taking a couple moons to recover to breathe normally again. She then got an apprentice who was struggling with some trauma that she let him vent about and offered support. She bragged about her latest exploits to any cat that would listen, and then she got a running nose, which she recovered from, only to immediately get another one. But next up is Milk Hair, who came out as a trans girl this year, making Drizzle Light look at all of his girl siblings and saying, yeah, girl, the gender female, not for me. I like to imagine that someone said that with their eyelashes and hair, both Milk Hair and Drizzle Light looked girly, and Milk Hair was like, I love that. And then Drizzle Light was like, that's horrible, get it away from me. But she helped out her sister Chestnut Wolf get herbs here and there, and then she got an apprentice. Which, not gonna lie, I think Drizzle Light getting punished by Jackdaw Slash might be why they didn't get an apprentice when Leopard Spots and Milk Hair did. But Milk Hair was later preoccupied playing an important game of hide-and-seek. Then she was giggling about clan drama with friends, and then whining about her duties. She got a torn pelt from a skirmish with J-Clan, but luckily that healed up well, and she doesn't even have a scar. She did steal a Moss Clan rabbit unnoticed while she was on patrol with the deputy and the leader, so her and Drizzle Light are a bit of a troublemaking duo right now. She was also watching a kitty pet sitting calmly next to a dog on the same moon that Drizzle Light was taunting a dog through the fence, so I imagine they were together and that was related. But next up in the line is actually her apprentice, the newly named 16-moon-old Nervous Fickle Moth, who despite that is an eloquent speaker. As a kid, he didn't want to grow up, but he smiled at the stars as he sat beside Milk Hair, taking them shining as a sign that Broken Stream was still watching him. Unfortunately, he did miss a bird on his first patrol, and then he wanted to get to know Rainbow Star better. He briefly got a running nose and gave a kit a badger ride, and then he was honored for his pragmaticism at his warrior ceremony and thought Jackdaw Slash was doing an alright job as deputy, but that was also the moon that Wishkeeper was thinking that he was a shoo-in for deputy, so it might have been in a, yeah, Jackdaw Slash is doing alright, but you know who would be better? How about my dad? Kind of way. He acted brave on a patrol despite his anxieties, but apparently he made a stupid comment on one of his brother's favorite hunting techniques, and it soured the training session. But next up is his brother, the newly named Silk Spider, who is charismatic and a trusted advisor. And he was an ambitious apprentice, eager to learn the best ways to help his clan thrive, as he excitedly touched noses with Fawnfoot, but he was a bit too excited and almost chased a rabbit over the Moss Clan border on his first day out, but Fawnfoot didn't let him. He was trying to put on a brave face on for his fellow apprentices and was honored for his friendliness at his naming ceremony. Maybe a bit too friendly because he slunk for the territory to try to meet with someone at the Viper Clan border, but was crestfallen when they were accompanied by a clanmate that coldly reminded him to stay on his side of the border. And that could have been one of his kin that is in that clan. The Frecklestar kits around his age. Possibly romance-wise, in his age range, it's mostly a guy named Sandbee who is loyal, so not sure if he was being romantic or just trying to visit family. Either way, him and Wishkeeper seem to have in common that they don't respect the Viper Clan border, only half joking. Moving on to the surprisingly now loving Gorsefroat, who is an excellent teacher. He definitely has some cross-clan romance going on because on the J-Clan stream, a cat named Magpie Freckle was sneaking to see a GalaxyClan cat. So he's having a potentially casual young love moment that we'll see how serious that ends up being. But going back in time, he was a troublesome apprentice who was apprenticed to Roostertail and immediately asked when they were going to go explore the territory. He caught a mouse on his first patrol and was praised for being a natural hunter. But then he was upset when Minnow Spirit said that he was in the wrong during an argument, and then he got told off by Roostertail for not taking training seriously, and was talking back to his mentor, where he then snuck out and had a pleasant conversation with J-Clan despite the war, and that leads back to me saying that he's seeing Magpie Freckle there. He was also the one taunting a dog with Spinel, but despite all of this, he somehow did a flip on personality, and he ended up being loving by the end of the year, which really surprised me, and he got named Gorsefroat in honor of his care. He also does really like Roostertail despite their arguing and such during their training. But on to the last brother of this litter, the newly named Bumblebuzz, who is strict and an excellent teacher. And as a kid, he picked some flowers and brought them to Chestnut Paw, which was adorable. He was excited when he got apprenticed to Red Noise and ran into a swarm of two legs on his first patrol, being curious and not quite understanding the danger. Red Noise stopped him and explained true warriors have nothing to do with two legs or their monsters. He saw a Viper Clan apprentice during a border patrol, who I assume was, again, one of their kin, and he excitedly talked to them over the border, breaking tensions that he didn't seem to notice since Jackdaw Slash was on that patrol. He had asked Rennoy seriously to teach him advanced battle moves, explaining that doing good and upholding the code is always going to be a struggle against evil code breakers. And I think he does well in having a set of rules that he needs to follow, as well as routine that he can stick to. Though he might take the rules a little too seriously at times, he does still have moments of selective mutism when overwhelmed, but it is less often now. He was honored for his leadership at a ceremony, and then sadly his tail was mangled by falling rocks, and it started to swell and feel feverish, but luckily Chestnut Wolf got the infection and injury to heal, but he is now scarred. Moving on to the 15-moon-old newly named Pumpkin Glow, who is a cunning great climber. She was feeling a bit ill on the moon that Drizzlelight asked her an important question, and I think she was giving some kind of vague prophecy because when she was apprenticed to Cyndaquil, she asked him about a vision she thought she had from StarClan. They discussed it curiously as she explained it was vague, but she thought it involved a bird, a fish, and a snail maybe? They later had what felt like the perfect day hunting with sun and prey dripping from every moment with Cyndaquil. Then she tried to do too much at once and defeatedly asked Cyndaquil for help, and she was also there when he found his son Cliff Kit. These two seem like a very close pair, which is another reason I'm hoping Cyndaquil is good under all of his bad choices. She also had a disagreement with Spinel, which might be since her mom Jackdaw Slash wasn't the happiest with Spinel. Rainbow Star almost felt intimidated by all the knowledge Pumpkin Paw gathered on her moons of training and felt confident when they named her Pumpkin Glow for her hard work. And yeah, she seems pretty cool so far, but moving on to some new faces. Here is the cold 14-moon-old Spindlefox, who is a trusted advisor, and he was brought to the clan by his mom Spinel at 5 moons old, and was originally a bullying kit. He was apprenticed to the Leopard Spots, and he wondered if this was truly the right path for him. He revealed his nightmares of shadows and images pouring his troubles to Leopard Spots about him and his mom's old 2 legs, and her support was enough to make his ears stop drooping. And he was happy when his mom joined the clan. He was listening to Rainbow Star carefully as they explained techniques for leaping up craggy surfaces, and was reenacting moves that he saw Rowan-Caw do. When Leopard Spots was sick one moon, he snuck out on his own and found a badger den. He crept with his belly flat in the dirt, managing to glimpse the badger before sprinting back to camp to warn everyone, getting named for his independence shortly after that. But then he got Yellow Cough, which sadly has progressed into Red Cough, which is basically a death sentence. And this is what Spinel was panicking over and throwing doubt around the clan about. She was told this was supposed to be a safer place than her old home, but now her baby is dying. I don't expect Spindlefox to live long, which is really sad because I thought he was a really good young cat with a bright future, but into our apprentice den, where Pike and Sushi's kits are, starting with the 7-moon-old Finchpaw, who is sneaky and quick to help. He was a know-it-all kit, and he corrected Roostertail on something trivial. Then he found Peatmane annoying. He was coaxed by his dad Pike, who had green cough at the time, for his ceremony, which he was apprenticed to Daffodil Heart, and they shouted a large dog out on his first day. An exhausting and stressful day, but at last the dog was confirmed to be leaving the area. Also, I wrote down that he was strict when he was apprenticed, so I think in 1 moon he became sneaky instead, unless I just wrote down the personality wrong. Finchpaw is worried about his brother right now, though, because the childish Ibispaw, who is interested in clan history and quick-witted, is injured right now. He was an attention-seeking kit who got a badger ride from Ficklepaw and was later trying to growl menacingly. He was apprenticed to Horizon Petal and managed to catch a mouse on his first day out, but then he ended up getting caught in a storm with his dad, Horizon Petal, and Wishkeeper, and despite all the cats trying to keep him warm, he currently has frostbite and is shivering. So I hope he recovers well from this, but now on to his last brother, the 7-moon-old Caribou Paw, who was adopted into the family at 5 moons old, and was also named via community post. He's a childish mossball hunter that was found abandoned, and he purred so hard that he was shaking when he was apprenticed to Rowan-Caw, and while she tried to quiz him on how to catch a thrush, they saw the bird breaking a snail on a rock, which reminded her of the stories that she heard traveling around camp related to the potential vision Pumpkin Paw had earlier in the year, and Rowan-Caw got distracted as they thought more about it, starting to put some pieces together. Then the next moon, Caribou Paw tried to show off while hunting, but it screwed up the entire patrol. Great job. I like to think that he's a larger cat compared to his siblings, and I hope that this family ends up cute. It's really funny to me that the fish had 2 bird babies and then they adopted a caribou. But we have no elders, sadly, after Stargazer's death, but we do have someone in the nursery. Introducing the 65-moon-old Granite Newt, who is a beloved kit sitter with valuable insight, and his 4-moon-old daughter, Daisy Kit, who's a daydreamer and a careful listener. And there's really not too much to say because these two joined at the very end of the year. I found Daisy Kit in-game first when I ran into an abandoned kit, which I went for despite the clan size, since We currently had no babies, and then I saw the patrol where I knew it was a cat that was friends with a dog, and I actually never saw the result where that cat just joins the clan, so I was expecting to just interact with them and have a cool cat in the outside the clan section that spoke dog, but to my surprise, Granite Newt joined. So to make things easier, I just said he joined and he brought his daughter with him. But yeah, beyond Granite Newt being able to speak dog and being a former kitty pet, that's really all we know about these two. Looking forward to them next year. But for now, let's look outside the clan at some cats because some things are very interesting. Meet the 12-moon-old nervous Stoneshell, who is a good kit sitter and very clever. And this is another one of Adderstripe and Cyndaquil's kits. And in-game, we ran into her for the first time when she was 10 moons old, and that's when she was part of a group of rogues that attacked us and injured Ren Noise. So that was probably explains how I've been mentioning rogues that had to be involved with Adderstripe or her kits in some way, considering she's in a group. Side note, Adderstripe named her after Stone Star, which is cute, but the second half of her name is Shell. Perhaps like a snail shell? Also, a GalaxyClan apprentice tried to join J-Clan, and I originally said it was her, but then she died immediately in-game, and I just said pretend that never happened in canon when we were doing the stream. So she didn't join J-Clan, but we can bend canon to say that maybe she did briefly show up in J-Clan or was spotted on the territory. I do want to invite her to the clan because I don't know if she's actually having a good time, but we're kind of full, and also due to the event of how she was found, Ren Noise, Jackdaw Slash, and Pike all hate her in-game. So either I invite her with a very high chance of her getting spawn killed, or I edit some of the hate down a little manually and then try to invite her, or I just let things go on their own in the game. I drew the other rogues as OC cameos, but in-game, she was with two cats named Max and Crocus Whisker. Both are female cats, so part of me thinks that this is a girls-only club. There is another young female rogue that was spotted in Moss Clan named Turbo, so that might be connected. As for Pebblejoy, really not too much to say. She's 75 moons old and still mostly just chilling with her mate 4. She was seen looking for trouble and meowing for food, and she's basically just living the life of a kitty pet. I will say 4 was trying to escape bath time, which I found really funny though. Bubbling Mark though, she's 103 moons old, and she does seem to be mostly doing better in Moss Clan, with only a few standout potentially mean girl moments, but most can be explained with her just following the code, like when she reported her sister for eating prey on patrol. She did run into badger dens and panicked when her crush Rainmask just wanted to stick her head in to check if it was in there. She was boasting about her accomplishments, but then wondering if she was good enough. Her sister Icy Pelt got beat up by a 6-moon-old rogue and then eventually stepped down as deputy and retired. And she helped the medicine cats here and there. She suggested 2-on-1 training with Crowfreckle and was annoyed when she ran, but then she took that same strategy when she later was put into that same position. So yeah, overall doing better. She also had a nice chat with GalaxyClan, which again was probably her talking to Rowancaw. Anyway, before the last two, surprise late video animatic time. Let's see how that J-Clan war ended. The two clans were having a meeting with the mediators attempting to discuss peace. Rainbow Star was there with their deputy Jackdaw Slash, and Missile Star was there with her deputy Wasp Mimic. Rainbow Star was cautious knowing Missile Star was visiting the Dark Forest, and Cliff Creek had been brought along with Ice Dash for the experience as a mediator. Not liking how the mediation was going, Missile Star growled and went to lash at Cliff Creek, but to everyone's surprise, Wasp Mimic pushed her off the cliff. She landed alive but injured and looked up in shock as Wasp Mimic hissed that all she does is cause problems and destroy her own clan. Whipping around to the mediators and declaring he didn't care if they told the clan exactly what he did, he was done with this pointless war and he was sure most of the clan would agree. Wasp Mimic shouted down at Missile Star that she was not welcome back in J-Clan, and he was going to see if Star-Clan would grant him 9 lives instead of a foolish leader like her. He dipped his head to Rainbow Star, declaring the war was over, and then turned back to his territory. So we have the 52-moon-old Wasp Star now, but going in order of what happened this year, the war of Viper Clan and J-Clan ended, and then Missile Star was challenged again by a clanmate where everyone ended up injured. Wasp Mimic was guarding camp and then got an apprentice named Pridepaw, now named Pridequake, teaching her advanced battle moves when she admitted she felt the pressure of being loved and relied on by so many cats and wanted to be able to protect them. Then we went to war with Viper Clan again, and Wasp Mimic found an abandoned kit that he adopted as his daughter. He was suffering from phantom pains and out of commission when Missile Star drove out Pike and Sushi, and then Rainbow Star declared war. And once he was back on his feet, he seemed to be not supporting the war or Missile Star at all, focusing on duties like hunting instead. And he seemed well liked by most cats. He did get buried on patrol, but luckily he was okay, and he argued with Missile Star over ending the war 4 times due to it being disruptive to their clan life, And that all happened on the same moon, but she wasn't listening. He was worried for a bit when his daughter was sick and didn't hesitate to help her when she got ambushed by rats, ending up with partial hearing loss in one ear from it. Then he couldn't take it anymore and got rid of Missile Star, now Missile Dusk, getting his 9 lives after StarClan approved him. And the J-Clan guide Gentlepaw actually showed up during that, so that was cool. He pledged to do right by J-Clan, but now on to his daughter. Meet the 12-moon-old Icicle Fleck, who is adventurous and very clever, and she was actually named by her dad and honored for her spunk. And this is the furred Adderstripe and Cyndaquil kit, and she was found by Wasp Mimic on the moon that Adderstripe died. So I have a couple theories. Either she wandered off and got lost, or possibly, if they weren't already a part of the rogue group before Adderstripe died, they could have taken the kits and just not seen her. She was apprenticed to Raven and shadowed out a dog, which stressed her dad out after his first apprentice did die to a dog last year. Then she tried to steal a rabbit from Moss Clan but got scolded. She probably did briefly see her sister, the rogue Stone Shell, in the territory, and then she caught a poisoned rat and had to be rushed back for treatment. After recovering, she discovered a whole horde of them, calling for her dad to help, and she also ended up with hearing loss from the incident. She was looking off in the distance when she was named, and I do think she cares deeply for the rest of her family. Maybe not Cyndaquil, though. She didn't really meet him until she was an apprentice, and at that point, she had seemed to clung to Wasp Star as her dad already. Who knows, maybe they can bond. But now I will point out that StarClan dream from Pumpkin Paw. So Icicle Fleck is in J-Clan, which is the bird. Cliff Creek has a fishtail and is in GalaxyClan, which is the fish. And Stone Shell is a rogue, and she's the snail. And I'm really hoping the later patrol where a bird was breaking a snail wasn't adding on to that prophecy, and instead the snail itself just reminded Rowancaw of the story she heard. But yeah, I love her. Now on to the leaders. We still have Rainbow Star, and as for Moss Clan, Thunderstar is doing a little better, but mostly seems to be focused on hunting and making sure the clan is fed. His daughter Dawnpaw was bit by a snake, but luckily she survived, and then he and Spirejoy had 3 more kits. Alpine Kit, Squirrel Kit, and Frost Kit, who has allergies. He was in distress when Weevil Chomp was found dead, clinging to her body to the point that he had to be dragged away, and then he lost a life in a landslide with apprentices helping him and Rainmask stay calm, so now he's down to 7 lives. We already talked about Wasp Star and what happened to Missile Star. So moving on to Viper Clan with Freckle Star, she was proud of her kits and got advice from her dad Silvally, possibly due to pregnancy recovery. Another J-Viper war happened, which she wasn't happy over, but this one ended faster than the last one with GalaxyClan joining in. Many of her cats got heat exhaustion, including her kit Egret Kit, and she told Rainbow Star that Viper Clan kits have been idolizing GalaxyClan's brave warriors at a gathering. She got an apprentice and then watched a Moss Clan cat swiftly kill her without a word when a misunderstanding happened when they were trying to help with kits. Except that makes no sense timeline-wise with Moss Clan, and they seem to have no idea what she was talking about during a gathering when she brought it up. So I'm thinking it was possibly a rogue wearing moss. Maybe the rogue group that seems to be going around maybe stealing kits where Stone Shell is? Either way, she's been upset with Moss Clan ever since, and a kit was also found dead on the Moss Clan border, though that could have just been a case of they wandered out. She gave herself a new apprentice and is doing her best with them. She lost a life fighting a dog, which seemed to be while protecting her son's new mate. And then she was attacked by rats, and her dad Silvally came to help her despite his age. So Freckle Star is now down to 7 lives now. But deputy-wise, Jackdaw Slash is still here. And in Moss Clan, we have a new face with the young Micah Bird, who was the mentor of one of Swansong's kits, the sadly now dead Burnett Stem. He rescued them from a dog and was proud of Kit's growth. He seems to have potentially let being deputy get to his head, immediately punishing the former deputy Icy Pelt when she was caught eating prey, and then telling off cats for letting an argument disrupt training. He questioned a tradition that might be Moss Clan specifically waiting 8 moons instead of 6 moons to let apprentices leave the cave. He was also wondering who would give him 9 lives, and concerningly, I noticed that his litter doesn't seem to get along at all. That litter being Tall Shadow and their medicine cat brother Tin Willow. But in J-Clan, Waspmig surprisingly chose Hot Mallow as deputy, who is a very interesting cat. He was involved with killing Scrappy Cricket way back when that happened, but he also seemed to get visions that he never really understands and seems almost haunted by them. In general, he seems like a good cat to his clan, taking care of them, but he did also hunt birds, which is against J-Clan customs. His brother caught and stopped him this year, but then died of tainted prey, where Hot Mallow was then plagued with a vision of oozing corruption, old rendezvous, and the taste of berries, so I kind of think his brother got killed instead of just ate tainted prey. Hot Mallow and his brother's mate also did and do still have a romantic like for each other, So we'll see if anything happens there. But yeah, this boy confuses me because he does genuinely seem to care about his clan despite past actions, but we'll see. Spruce Shadow is still in Viper Clan, though both her and her mate Frecklestar are getting old. They are both adventurous, though. She got an apprentice and seems to mostly be doing her best, but I do think she'll probably retire next year. She was grieving towards the end of the year after Rookwhisker died, and in general, I think it's probably time for her to retire. Medicine Cat-wise, the other clans, please share. Chestnut Wolf is over here struggling. In Moss Clan, there are 4 Medicine Cats now. Minnie is still here doing her best, despite sometimes mixing up herbs. She was caught by Goose Lotus on patrol, which made her heart flutter, and she is crushing on them. Goose Lotus is doing their best following Star Clan signs to Queens with Kits, which so many cats are doing. We get that patrol so much now, but at least they're not getting constant omens. Also, their dad has a new mate in the Elder's Den, which is cute, except for the fact that that mate used to hate Goose Lotus. Tin Willow, as mentioned, isn't happy with his brother Micah Bird, and has had his ups and downs. He had a dream during a storm of dripping honeycomb and wondered what it meant, and then he got white cough. He was later told of an apprentice's dream of a heated argument, whispers of a lost secret, and an acidic scent, so it seems that he is the Omen Cat in Moss Clan this year. Teaselpaw is the new apprentice in Moss Clan, and she was found with her dead mom after Goose Lotus was led there. She has allergies, which reminds me of the Cannon Cat running nose, and she's wise. And she's currently sick with green cough, so hopefully she survives. In J-Clan, Crumpet sadly passed away, but we do still have Skip Fluff, who continues to cause problems on and off patrol, arguing with her son as well. She had deep grief at a cat's death that I theorized was poisoned, and there were some theories that Mistlestar might have made her do it, since that cat had challenged her in the past. She also screamed that Timmy's vision was one of doom, and as for Timmy, they came out as non-binary, and was also guided to dead queens with Kits. They've been wondering if they'd be a good swimmer, and doing their best as a medicine cat, and also had a vision of wing beats in the wind and a battle long ago. And now there's Mantis Paw, who is another cat that was found as a kit with their dead mother. He struggled to cope with the violence and chaos of war, and couldn't stand the stress of battle training, so he switched to being a medicine cat. He's strange and was apprenticed to Skip Fluff, but he's doing his best. In Viper Clan, Fire has retired, and we now have Pom Pom Purin, who is a troublesome older cat, and was invited by Frecklestar. She got a little frustrated for fellow medicine cats, and she had a dream about trembling stones, a home once forgotten, and a newborn's innocence. She was also attacked by rats, and Swishgitter has become mates with Gorseglow towards the end of the year, and found it endearing how shy he was when she announced it to the clan. She found yet another dead queen and her kits, where one ended up becoming a medicine cat, looking at you, Goldpaw. And Swishgitter is concerningly bloodthirsty now, so there's that. Swamp Hopper has been helping around where he can, and even asking for extra work. And he was the one that was giving Goldpaw as an apprentice. He worried his apprentice is pushing himself too hard towards the end of the year, but Goldpaw is a charismatic boy, and he tried to tell Swamp Hopper about a potential StarClan dream, but it got dismissed. He later got overwhelmed over the idea of needing to help with both physical and mental help of his clanmates. Mediator-wise, wow, the page is getting full! GalaxyClan now has 3 of them, with Ice Dash, Minnow Spirit, and the new Cliff Creek. Moss Clan still only has Ashleap, who is doing some shipping with Goose Lotus and the now retired Icy Pelt. She hasn't had luck mediating between Viper Clan and has been distraught over how much her clan argues, but she's doing her best. In J-Clan, we not only still have Salmon, but he has help with Cicada Burst, who has decided to become a mediator instead of retire. And Salmon has been doing mediating this year, though I did notice he never raises romantic-like, so now I'm liking the theory that he's aromantic and just has no idea how to help with that front. Cicada Burst has been doing her best and hanging out with a lot of the kids this year. She's an absolute sweetheart. In Viper Clan, as mentioned, Gorseglow is now mates with Swishgitter, and him and Berry Chase have been each other's wingmen. Berry Chase is happy that Gorseglow is now mates with his sister Swishgitter, and Gorseglow has been offering help for Berry Chase and his crush Swamp Hopper, so we'll see if that happens. Gorseglow was wondering if being a warrior would be more fun, and Berry Chase briefly got heat exhaustion. And that's year 25, the first year I played of GalaxyClan during 2025, and on the newest update. I am a little sad that Adderstripe immediately died, but we do have her little drama kits at least. Also, the clan is at 35 cats again, which is the limit, and unless cats die in-game next year, a manual mass extinction of some kind may be coming again. Like I said, I didn't think Granite Newt would be joining, but I did go for Daisy Kit on purpose. And I'm gonna be honest, I expected more cats to die naturally in-game due to my track record, and also the introduction of illnesses and injuries in Classic mode. Though Spindle Fox is probably not gonna be around much longer, sadly, due to his red cough. Rainbow Star is basically a Dark Forest babysitter at this point, guiding their cats out. And I hope so bad that Cyndaquil isn't evil because I just want Rainbow Star to be happy. Missile Dust got kicked out of J-Clan, so we officially have Wasp Star now, which is really fun. Really hoping to find a Wandering Healer to help out Chestnut Wolf. Also, we did go to war with J-Clan on our side of the game too, but it did not last as long as the J-Clan's playthrough one, so I kind of just adjusted canon to fit the J-Clan war timeline. But yeah, that was a wild year, and again, I just launched a Patreon if you're interested in supporting me there. Year 26 sneak peeks may take a little bit to start since I do still need to play the game and then draw stuff, but most things will probably be available within the week. But next week should be the Hypo Kits video, where I draw some ships that didn't have kits in canon, with the exception of one obvious one, as a Valentine's Day special. So thank you for watching, check out the links below, and I will see you next time. Peace!